I'm Dr. Lindsay Coble.
Dr. Noelle Crosby, and we're the Sound Sisters, and this is the Hearing Diaries. Today, we have a special conversation with Laura Hedderman. She is a student that's soon to be a graduate with her. Is it going to be your BA or your BS?
BA. Yep,
With her
BA.
BA in
Yeah.
speech and hearing. And
hmm
so we wanted to bring her on and have a conversation with her about what her future will look like with this degree. So we're really excited to have you on because I feel like this conversation is actually happening real time to you right now. And you're about to graduate with your bachelor's in speech and hearing. And when you came in to shadow us, no, 6 months ago or so, you asked me something that really stuck. And it was like, what can you actually do with this degree? And I remember thinking, well, you're actually the perfect person that would love to see you in this profession after working with you. And so today we want to just talk to you about really what experience have you had and what you can do with the degree that you're going to be getting. So let's start off with what drew you to speech and hearing? Why did you start with that field in the first place?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. So as with most of my colleagues in my major, in my degree group, we all kind of went into speech first
Mhm.
because we,
That's like
I
many
mean,
of us. Yep.
a lot of,
Yeah,
yeah, right. A lot
many
of
of us
people
who are
did.
here now too.
Yep, exactly. I know, and everybody finds their way. But
Uh-huh.
um, I play music. That's kind of my job since I was like a teenage, preteen. And I loved a geriatric population because I'm from a retirement town. And I loved the music and how it worked together. And then I love the client care. I love hearing people's stories, things like that. So I thought speech would be the best way to really connect with people. But then as soon as I got into my coursework, I love the hearing part of it. And it was just way more fascinating, the ears and everything. So I kind of went towards that direction. And I still like speech, but it just wasn't, maybe as well suited for me. So that's kind of how I chose it. And it's been rolling smooth ever since. So.
And when you first chose speech and hearing, like what did you
Mhm.
think this major was going to evolve into, or where did you think it was going to take you?
Yeah. Well, I knew in the beginning that I would have to go to grad school, and it seemed just like a flighty goal from then. And
So
then once I
so far in
started
the distance, right?
exactly, and then I started getting to everybody's applying, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. So probably nerves kind of brought me away from grad school, but also the cost, which we'll talk about. But definitely, I thought, I'm going to grad school, and after that, I have no idea what it looks like.
Hmm.
So it really every step of the way kind of brought me a new little answer to a question. So yeah.
Hmm.
And so now that you're about to graduate, what does that feel like for you? Are you scared? Are you worried about your future? Are you excited?
Mhm. I'm
What's
so
that about?
excited. I really have a strange piece about it where I'm just like I'll find somebody like you obviously who really mentored me. And I'll find somebody who will just kind of take me with them and help me out. And really all I care about, I mean, of course I'd like to make enough to live, but all I care
Of
about is just
course, it's
having
important.
exactly that really makes a difference, doesn't it? But I just care about, reaching people and connecting with people and making them feel heard in this field. So I think that's kind of like the goal. So I'm more excited than I'm nervous, of course, but it's it's a good field. So
When you met or were talking with Noelle and shadowing Noelle
Mhm.
6 months ago and kind of said, I
Mhm.
don't know what the future brings.
Right.
Do you feel like now you're a month from graduation? Do you feel like you kind of have a clearer step of your opportunities and
Mhm.
options?
Yes, I do. It definitely helped talking to Dr. Dorn and Dr. Crosby, who really have been in the field for a long time,
Mhm.
because they were like, "Oh, we think this about this, audiology assistant, it's kind of like maybe it doesn't pay as much, so maybe go into dispensing." And I started kind of researching that. So it really did help because most of my questions are like dumb questions that I'm like, I shouldn't be asking this to somebody, who really is going to judge me for it, but it
No
definitely helped
judgment.
straighten me out.
Yeah,
I thought.
no
Yeah.
judgment here. You have to
No,
find
of
your
Yeah,
way
course.
somehow. The only way to know
Yeah,
is to
right.
ask. Hmm.
yeah,
Exactly. Yep.
yeah. Well, this is what I think. from talking to you and when just learning about the whole way the things evolved with you, I feel like you never really had another plan. There was never another plan presented to you other than get your degree and go on to either get your master's in speech or your AUD in audiology. And
Right.
so here you are getting ready to graduate. You've spent 4 years in school, and I feel like you really don't feel like you had a good next step, right?
Right.
Or that you
Right.
were told other than those things, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course, exactly. I didn't really know about hearing instrument specialist, even audiology assistant. I think I heard about it a little bit, but other than that, I think the university pushes what they can do for you, which is graduate or PhD or anything like that. So they didn't really like help us with. I mean, of course, maybe it was my fault. Maybe I could have really delved into it by myself and went and asked people. But as far as in the coursework, we didn't have that kind of training seminar where we're like, hey, here's like 10 options guys can
Yeah.
do, and here's how we can help you do them. So
Like
yeah.
here are other career options if you want to
Right.
end after these
Right.
4 years. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Yep.
tell us about, obviously, you had some hesitations about graduate school. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what were those hesitations and
Mm-hmm.
why have you decided not now, not the
Right.
plan for me?
Yeah. Well, of course, the cost of living is high, and that was part of it. Of course, I could, I would hope that if I went to graduate school and I got a professional job, then I would be able to pay it back. And I'm sure that I could have worked that out. But the main thing was, 4 years. What, and of course the externship at the end, but 4 years basically of my life I'm kind of like setting aside. And what does the benefit, like after once I'm an AUD, does it like weigh correctly?
Right.
Like can I kind of make enough to be able to support the graduate degree? So that was kind of a hesitation, and I was like the thought of going to school for longer was kind of scary and things like that. So once I found a different kind of path, and I'm still researching kind of different paths, but I was kind of like, oh, maybe there's a different thing that can make me the same amount, and I can still have that patient interaction that I long for, without getting the graduate degree. But also, I could have probably found my way in that too. So it was just my own path. I was like, oh, probably a little bit of nerves, so getting out on my feet. But yeah, I guess that's the
Yeah.
main thing. Mhm.
So when I know, so we did some shadowing with you a couple times, and
Mhm.
then
Right.
more recently you had this conversation with Dr. Dorn and I
Mhm.
about what can you actually do with this degree, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
so you came to us and this is where I feel like the weak link was for you, where you didn't
Mhm.
really know if you had any options to stay in the field and
Mhm.
get a position that you could afford to live on your own and everything.
Right.
And so
Yep.
that's when we presented to you that you could be an assistant, or
Mhm.
you could maybe be a hearing instrument specialist, or
Mhm.
maybe work for a manufacturer or work
Mhm.
for an ENT in some capacity or things like that. So we
Mhm.
were trying to give you options.
Yeah,
And
of
for
course.
in Florida anyway, as an assistant, we kind of thought that that wasn't going to, because you're getting your bachelor's, that probably wasn't going to be pay enough for what the work you had put in. So
Right.
I feel like, so that's you decided that you wanted to be maybe pursue the hearing instrument specialist
Yes.
instead. And
Mhm.
so do you feel like what you would be doing as a hearing aid specialist would be satisfying to you, knowing it would be mostly hearing aids and working with hearing aid patients? Do you think that would be a good path?
I think so, as long as I can really use my heart and soul in it, and try to help people the best I can. I kind of wasn't so excited about the heavy sales based jobs that are maybe mainly commission, and you're really like, I can't feed my family if I don't sell this hearing aid, because I figured that might introduce a bias that people really don't appreciate.
Mhm.
The patients don't appreciate. But I think yes, as long as I can really just be one on one and with the patient, and for the right reasons, I would like that.
Right.
Mhm. It's very rewarding, so I think you'll
Exactly.
probably like it. I love adult
I think
hearing
should have the
aids. Yeah,
Yeah,
personality for
love
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah, I love it. Yep, and I've been well trained for it. So
Yeah. When you think of your strengths, like things you've learned from undergrad, things from high school, like what strengths do you feel like you have right now?
Yeah, I definitely from my job, I'm a musician, so I definitely run into a lot of things where I have to just figure out, oh, my string on my guitar breaks, or my microphone will not turn on, or somebody's heckling me from the audience, or things like that. It kind of throws things at you real fast, and you have to figure it out. So I think I kind of have that confidence that I'm like, well, the show must go on. So
Yeah,
No, that's
that's
a good,
kind of
that prepared
good
you well for
mentality.
that.
The
right,
show must go
exactly.
on. That's a
The
good
show
I
must go
know
mentality.
on.
exactly, and I could see that with in a clinic kind of setting too.
Yeah.
It happens
When
like
you
that.
when you're trying to get your
Mhm.
hearing aids hooked up and they won't hook up, and that
Yeah.
something else is, the software is like glitching,
Mhm.
and you're
Yeah.
like, well, the
Yeah.
show must go on.
Right behind the show
Exactly.
must go on. There's our
Yep. And
mantra.
Everybody's staring
right.
at you.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And you have to remain a professional. So
Exactly.
Well, tell
You
us a
got to
little
keep
bit
it
about,
together.
like, with your music. What are you doing currently with that? Do you go play shows, local shows and everything?
I do, yeah. Mainly around Inglewood, because my parents live down there still. So I'm up in Tampa now, but not for long. But so I basically I have kind of like a following from I played all throughout high school and everything. So I go back and I do, restaurants and weddings and bars and little coffee shops and things like that.
Okay. I'll have
Um,
to try to find out where you're going to
you
be
Fun.
should.
one day and
Yeah,
come and see you.
Yeah.
of course, yeah. It's just a ton of fun. It really has given me a great, vantage point and a lot of confidence to be like I can talk to anybody, things like that. Of course, I
Mhm.
still falter sometimes, but
Oh,
and
we
then
all do.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah. But I also play nursing homes, which I love. It's so rewarding.
Such a
And that
skill.
really
So nice. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And memory care and things like that. And just to see the how somebody who maybe is, sleeping in their chair and they're kind of, not super present in the room, they start tapping their foot at an Elvis
Hmm.
song. And it is the best thing ever. I love it. And it really just gave me a love for the geriatric population.
Yeah.
As difficult as it can be to work with some kind of issues. I love it. I don't know,
Yeah.
and somebody will pull you aside and tell you a story and share their wisdom with you, and I just
Yeah.
that's kind of what first I'm foreseeing in the hearing industry is you really will have that all the time, so
Yeah.
it's yeah.
I
Definitely
think
one of my
that's what
favorite
drew me
parts.
in
Uh-huh.
to
Uh-huh.
the profession. I used to work at a restaurant as a
Yeah.
server, and I used to have my people, and they would be older people that would come
Yeah.
in. And
Hmm.
because I was younger, it was like I was their granddaughter. So I
Yeah.
would go and I would go out to dinner with them. I would visit them. I would spend time with them. And
Yes.
even as a younger audiologist, I had my patients that I would get very close to.
Hmm.
Now that I'm more their same age, it's shifted quite a bit, you know.
Right.
But it used to be where they saw me as their grandchild, and I just
Aw.
loved everything I learned from them. You can learn so much from
You
Yeah.
having
can.
those conversations. So that kind of person can be like you, feeling
Mhm.
that can
Oh,
be really
yeah.
valuable
Right.
Hmm.
in this
Exactly.
field.
Exactly. I
Yes.
agree totally.
When I
Yeah.
It's
think having the musician experience,
Oh
programming a
yeah.
hearing aid is invaluable. I am not a
yeah.
musician, but when you get a
Mhm.
musician in front of you who's talking
Yeah.
about, the frequencies and the response they get from the guitar, and it's kind of like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know this as well as what you're
Right.
describing. But when you're a
Yeah.
musician, you can connect with them on that level. So that is a
Exactly.
great skill to
Yep.
Yeah.
have.
It's good. It's I'm glad. Yeah.
Noelle, I think one thing we talked about this off air, but you were talking about some of your friends from
Yeah.
undergrad who have
Mhm.
pursued, who are also not pursuing graduate school. Tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about what they're doing or what they have found as
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah. We definitely all there's three of us, of course, me included. We talked about how it's very speech heavy is all of our coursework. We did mainly speech classes and even our classes that are kind of for both for just the whole program are, like clinical methods. I'm in advanced clinical methods right now. And we're kind of watching like 25 hours of videos, I think, and observing. Um, and they're all speech pretty much. I think we had two or
Mhm.
three audiology. So we're like, oh man, I wish I could have seen, what I'm interested in.
Yeah,
And maybe it's a
Yeah.
professor thing. Maybe she is an SLP,
what
so
she knows.
maybe
Hmm.
yeah, what she knows. But definitely we're like telling each other what we've researched about post grad opportunities because nobody else really is. And I think the one girl is she's pursuing audiology assistant licensure, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if she's found a job or where she is with that, but she's just nervous about grad school for the same reasons. And she's like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem. So, and then the other one is applied to our university's grad program, USF. And she said if she doesn't get in, she's going to be HIS, same thing as me. So she she wants to work in a VA, so I don't know if she can do that without an AUD or anything like that.
Yeah, I
So
don't know how the VA, if they
I
have
think the VA
assistance.
went through a big change where they were hiring HISs. I think that was
Yeah,
like a big
I
Mhm.
discussion
remember
in
that.
the industry. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think
Well,
Yeah.
their workload, they had such a workload that the
yeah,
audiologists couldn't keep
exactly.
up. I
Right.
think that was
Yeah.
the discussion and argument. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where, like, when you and I had this conversation, Laura, it made me think that, we are so in need of audiologists and we
Right.
can't find them.
Hmm.
And assistants are not usually people that are prepared to work. Like, it
Hmm.
takes a long time to train them because they don't
Right.
have the background.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So I had the big idea that we were thinking about would
Hmm.
be is what if there was a mid-level licensed role in audiology that would be working under an audiologist, but
Hmm.
could do a lot of the things that an audiologist can do, but with supervision. So
Hmm.
it would be a position that would be higher than an assistant, but you would have more contact with an audiologist than an HIS. Because
Hmm.
and I don't know how it is in Indiana, but in Florida, audiologists have nothing to do with HIS unless
Hmm.
you have your HIS license. So you don't have to
Right.
have it, but if you have it, then you can supervise somebody to be an HIS. But I cannot even supervise you, or
Hmm.
I would have just
Yeah.
pulled you on right away. But I can't
Right.
even
Hmm.
supervise you because I don't have my HIS license. So this would be a position that would utilize your bachelor's.
Hmm.
And I mean, I would feel like it would have more audiology undergrad because what
Hmm.
you're
Right.
saying is you really didn't
Yeah.
get. But do you think there would be a need for something like that with
Yeah.
the students or the friends that you have? Do you think they would like something like that or
I think so. I definitely think so. And just to add another option, like we're not the big dog in the field, and maybe we're not the smallest, the bottom of the workforce, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. But definitely a middle ground where you're like, okay, I can make enough, but I'm not, and I had my undergrad. A lot of kids go to school for an undergrad and they don't use it. So
right,
it's nice to use what you learned, especially
right,
in our field because it's so niche. It's not
Hmm.
like a business degree where you can really apply to anything. It's kind of like, okay, we learned about these two things.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I agree, and I'm sure you guys know more about it than me. What kinds of things are really would really work in that
Hmm.
way? So
Hmm.
yeah, but I think so for sure.
Do you think if that was an option that there'd be less people in your track that would have gone on to graduate school if they had an option like this?
Right. I think so. Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of I guess maybe if you join the undergrad, then you're like, okay, well, I have to go to graduate. That's just part of it. Um, yeah, but I think if they didn't have to, they wouldn't because I know a lot
Yeah.
of people in the speech section of my major who are going to be speech assistants, and they probably would appreciate that too in their own kind of field. But yeah, for sure,
When I
I
also
agree.
think there's such a need for audiologists. I'm sure speech pathology
Mhm.
is probably not far behind, but
Right.
Right.
part of me thinks when high school students are looking at speech and hearing science as an
Mhm.
undergrad career or undergrad degree, they probably notice I have to go to grad school for this. Maybe I
Yep.
don't want an undergrad degree that I have
Mhm.
to go to grad school for. So they end
Right.
up doing
Mhm.
biology or chemistry or something different that they never entertain our field as an
Yeah.
option. Or maybe
Yep.
if we were had a way to portray the undergrad degree that you could actually get a job and here's some
Yeah.
tracks.
Mhm.
Or you could go on to graduate school. It might make it more enticing for high school seniors to look at
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I
Of
just feel like
course.
there's always so few in undergrad who are even thinking audiology. There's always like 5 to 6 in a program of like 80, and it's like
Exactly.
such a
Yep.
small group that
Yeah.
It is.
something's got to change.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. I see
Hmm.
that for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does seem like that. I don't know. You guys probably know, like when you were trying to find a new audiologist, you're like, where am I going
Oh,
to find
yeah.
one in
Oh
Englewood?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Do you
Hmm.
feel like what you know from undergrad? I mean, are there any parts of audiology that are interesting to you? Like, obviously, if you're going to go the HIS track, that's mostly
Right.
hearing aids.
Right.
But from what you know about what audiologists could do, are you
Hmm.
interested at all in like
Yeah.
balance or tinnitus care? Or, I mean, are
Right.
those specialties interesting if there was an option?
Yes, I think so. I like the idea of balance, but
Mhm.
somebody else I talked to, she said, "Well, you have to sit in a dark room and, have them spin for an hour." And I was
That's not really
feeling like
true, but
I don't think that's true, but I was like, I don't know. But I've always thought those things were interesting, but I didn't really know how to go about them except for the
Mhm.
AUD. And I know you have your whole thesis you have to write, so you could have
Mhm.
time to research that. But for me, research is I like analyzing research and everything, and I wouldn't really want to be involved in research.
Mhm.
It was never really interesting to me. But I
Mhm.
definitely I like that the AUD is really more medical than
Yeah.
yeah,
probably
more
HIS.
like clinical based
Yeah.
and not so
Yeah.
much
Clinical-based.
research
Yeah,
based.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do like that. But other than that, I don't know. I think it would be good too. And you guys are definitely very educated on the topic of hearing. You probably know the anatomy and everything better than everybody else does. But yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to compare to the like you had said you had a couple friends pursuing the SLPA. It would
Hmm.
be
Right.
interesting to see like what is the roles and responsibilities of that
Right.
job title and how could
Mhm.
audiology maybe get a little closer to that that's more than
Yeah.
an assistant.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Of
Hmm.
course.
Yeah, and I do
Yeah.
think there are some conversations that people are having about this topic because there are such a limited number of audiologists, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
there is so much debt that they have to accumulate to be
Right.
an AUD, and
Hmm.
there's just got to be a better way to do it. So what do
Right.
you think your program could have done differently to help give you a little bit more guidance with that?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it is tough because I see why they're kind of focusing on the speech students because there's more of them.
Right.
But yeah, we have, the NISHLA, the student
Hmm.
ASHA.
Hmm.
So I guess they kind of would probably be the ones that would really like give information about that. But it's run by students, so
Yeah.
Right.
if the blind leading the blind, and they're all speech, so it's kind of funny. But I just think that maybe if we had more speech or hearing classes and earlier
Yeah.
in the program, because we had our basic, I think, anatomy. What else? We had just kind of like early classes that were not so refined to one, and then we had disorders of hearing, which was the one I loved. And then we
And
had
that's kind of
disorders of
what made you
speech.
decide that you wanted to go
Yeah.
that direction.
And my professor
Yeah.
was an AUD, but she wasn't practicing. She like had a PhD too. Um, but she probably just was like, I don't know. I went to grad school and she did research and she went more of the educational route. I don't know if she ever practiced or what her story was, but definitely if we had more professors, we have plenty of SLP professors
Yeah.
who are still
Yeah.
practicing and teach, adjunct or something. But if we had more like that, where it's like, hey, I was in the clinic yesterday and this happened, and I can
Yeah.
tell you about it, and we really were like, oh wow, that's what I want to do, and I want to ask them where they went. So that would be kind of helpful if we had just more classes, and it would kind of give
Yeah.
us more opportunities to ask questions and things like that. So yeah, I don't know,
I
probably
I feel like grad schools do a good job of having guest
Mhm.
speakers,
Yes.
Yeah.
audiologists into their programs. Why not
Yeah,
undergrad?
Yeah, that
Have
makes
exactly.
a
me think about
course with
that.
different
Mhm.
paths and different specialties. Because even I
Right.
think people just think audiology, I don't think they really recognize all the different paths that
Right.
people can take. And that's probably kind of a turn off too of you feel
Mhm.
like all you see is debt load. You don't
Right.
think about how rewarding of a career it could be when you have all these different clinical specialty avenues. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a
Exactly.
disconnect there. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
What would you say to somebody who's just starting out looking at speech and hearing science?
Yeah. Well, I definitely tell them to be an audiologist. Go
Yeah,
into hearing.
don't join those
No.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I would just say, keep your like grad school isn't the only thing,
Hmm.
and shadow. I honestly,
Yeah,
because I called your office, Dr. Crosby. I was like, okay, it's the little purple office,
of
I love it. It's in my
course.
hometown. I was on winter break and we were just kind of hanging out. I was hanging out with my
I
family. I was
love
like, I
that you
want to
did
go.
that, Laura. That was
Me
cool.
Yeah.
too. I know, because it was a great like thing. You guys really took me under your wing. And if I hadn't talked to you guys and if I hadn't seen the, client interactions from you guys and not just in like a video somewhere, then I really
Right.
wouldn't have known that that's exactly what I want to do. I want
Hmm.
to, I want somebody to walk into the office and I want to be like, hey, how was your granddaughter's birthday party? Oh, great. Oh, that's awesome. And your wife, did she ever get better from her, lung
Yeah,
infection
yeah.
or,
It's
that's like how I
all
want
about
my
the
life.
relationship, right?
Yes, totally.
Exactly. So that really
Yeah,
was good. And I think if in probably many fields, if you shadow somebody who's doing exactly what you want to be doing in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, then that's kind of where you should just kind of be like, all right,
Mhm.
next, what did you do? Next, what did you
Yeah,
do?
gives you
yeah,
a
Where did you
vision
kind
and
of
a
go?
path.
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that was great.
Love that.
Well, last question in this, and then we'll move to the rapid fire,
Hmm.
is that what
Yeah.
do you want professionals to understand about students right now? So what would you have liked
Yeah.
your program to understand about that, or even
Right.
us working
Hmm.
professionals?
Hmm.
Yeah, anybody. Yeah, just probably just, we're confused, like the students
Hmm.
Yeah.
we're kind of like as we're going along with our homework and our exams and everything, we're kind of like just, rolling, trying to pass, and we're probably not, maybe we're lazy, maybe we're not really looking at what we should be looking at, but just
Your
kind of like,
students, your kids, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
exactly,
you
we're
you may
kids,
not be
yeah. So
expected to, right?
exactly. So, probably just if professionals realized our like the level of anxiety that it kind of comes with, then they could help us, like, hey, consider this.
Hmm.
Um, and definitely, it might not be the same everywhere because I go to a giant university, so it's not so. I knew that going in, it wouldn't be so, like one on one.
Hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of people had smaller universities that people really helped them. And I had good relationships with my professors, but they just didn't do necessarily what I wanted to do. So
Right.
definitely, if we had people who were kind of still working and teaching students, it would be great to, hear how they could help you
Hmm.
Yeah.
and offer different perspectives. Yeah.
Hmm. I love
Mhm.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Right.
let's jump into rapid fire. Are you
Mhm.
ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Laura, what is one word that describes you and why?
Oh man, I would say I'm willing. I'm just willing to
Yeah,
learn, willing to
that's a
talk to
good
people.
word.
Like
That's a
Yeah,
that.
good
well, I don't
Willing.
word.
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And what is a skill that you'd love to master overnight?
Oh my goodness. Earwax removal?
Oh,
I'm so worried I'm gonna
yeah.
scrape your little ear.
I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That would be terrible.
That's a
Yeah.
fun one.
Right.
What would you tell your younger self?
Even though you
Oh,
are young.
I'm so young, I
Your
know. The
even younger self.
same thing as I tell my older self, which is just like keep going, because it's like
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. The
Yeah.
show must go on, I
The show
guess. I
must go
don't
on. The
know.
The show
show
must
must go
go on.
Right.
I
on.
love
Yeah.
that. And I know you don't have much experience with hearing healthcare really, but what would you say you would like for it to look like in 10 years? Or what do you think it could look like in 10 years?
Yeah, I would just like to keep the personal aspect of it, and I hope, we
Hmm.
can use things like AI to help us, but hopefully we're still meeting with each other and helping people one on one and kind of looking at each other as humans.
I love that from a
You're wise
younger
beyond your
perspective,
years.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
you're wise
Yeah.
beyond your years
Well,
already.
I'm old fashioned.
Ah,
Yeah.
It's okay. It's good.
Right.
What is your coffee order that gets you through a day, or your energy drink order,
Oh my
whatever?
gosh. I love coffee with honey and cinnamon. That's my favorite. A latte or
Ooh,
something. It's
there
the
we
best.
okay.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wonderful. And what is a sound that makes you happy?
Oh, I'm a musician, probably, fiddle music or guitar music or things like that.
Any
Fiddle
kind of
music.
music
That's
that
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
any
like
kind of
that.
thing. Yeah,
Fun.
yeah. Maybe not
Um,
heavy metal.
Me either. Me either.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
we've kind of talked about this, but what is
Mhm.
one thing you think our profession of hearing healthcare professionals could do better? What's something we could do better?
Right. Just kind of keep in mind like what we're doing it for. We're doing it for the people and the patients, not any other reason. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love
I think
that.
most of you do, but
Yeah.
Love
anyway.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get off the track, so it's always nice to bring you back to
Yes.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
I'm all about the B's. So what B are you? What kind of B are you? Kind,
Yeah.
brave, curious, bold, or happy?
Oh, I guess at this stage of my life, I'm curious, you know.
Okay, love
Yeah,
that.
Mind. I could be all of them.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's do our Be Curious segment. So our
Okay.
Be Curious segment is we are highlighting the ADA Advocacy Day. So if you're an ADA member, you've probably seen some emails come through. They have an Advocacy Day coming up in Washington, D.C. on May 13th. That's in person, and it'll be a whole day of lobbying and advocacy. So if you are available and willing, please sign up to go on behalf of audiologists.
Yes, and we'll post the link right to sign up
Yes, yes, we
below
will.
this
Yes,
show
we
so
will.
everyone can do that. Well, in closing, Laura, this was an important conversation that we need to have more of,
Mhm.
especially because you're living it right now, right? And I think
Right.
a lot of students are going to feel seen, we hope, and hopefully a
Mhm.
lot of us will start thinking differently too. So
Mhm.
thank you so much. It was so great for just that my interaction that I've had with you and just to see that our future is bright with people like you in it. So thank you for
Thank
coming on
you.
today and sharing what's really
Yeah.
going on.
Right. Well, thank you for having me. It was a great conversation.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Laura.
Thanks. You take
Thanks.
care. And we'll see you next time on the Sound Sisters, everyone.